Every 10 years there is a game that defines a generation, that redefines what a game can be and what the medium itself can provide in terms of storytelling and unparalleled emotional experiences. The Last Guardian isn't the greatest game of the past 10 years, but what it is one of the most idiosyncratic and beautiful games of the modern PlayStation era. For many, this was the 2016 Game of the Year. And with that in mind, let's dive headfirst into this magical pool that Fumito Ueda has created. I don't think that I have ever played a game that encapsulates the relationship between man and beast quite like The Last Guardian does. This game uses minimal dialogue, often used sparingly as narration. Most of the storytelling comes in the form of flashbacks and from direct interactions with Trico and the environment immediately around you. There is an unmissable sense of remoteness in the ruins where the game primarily takes place. I nest surrounded by equal measures of loneliness as well as mystery. In the game's opening hours, it is easy to feel lost, confused, and overwhelmed because you don't really understand what your end goal is. But as you invest more time into The Last Guardian, your questions are answered to satisfying degrees. The story on paper is only one facet of what makes The Last Guardian story so distinctive from other titles. The experience of journeying alongside your remarkable companion for the better part of 15 hours results in a greater understanding of each other. You understand one another more and more as time progresses, and the bond that is formed is heartwarming, to say the least. Many game developers have tried to create special dynamics between two characters, such as the one seen between the boy and Trico, but none of them should even be involved in the same conversation, as they don't even come close to the bond that we see here. The game's story has the power to bring its audience to laughter, to terror, and to tears, and by the end of it, you'll want to do the whole thing over again. There are many who say that there is no such thing as a perfect game. I disagree, but The Last Guardian is by no means a perfect game. It is let down by a wonky camera and clumsy gameplay mechanics. This is the greatest weakness of Fumito Ueda's passion project. The controls can just be downright frustrating, causing the player to unintentionally leap off of tall platforms and cling to any grabbable surface, kind of like Velcro. There are several instances where the camera would almost completely obscure my vision of the surrounding locale, especially true when you're riding Trico through very tight corridors. The boy himself doesn't move the most gracefully either, often throwing himself against stone walls and other dangerous objects. He moves like a blundering child at the best of times and a drunken dancer at the worst of them. Besides these camera and control issues, most of the gameplay sequences are both fun and challenging. Some puzzles require a serious amount of thought and consideration, while others are more simple than they initially appear. It's also worth mentioning that the puzzles themselves can be very demanding, but they never steer into repetitiveness. Each new area you enter in the game throws something new at the player, keeping both you and Trico on your toes. I didn't review this game on a PS4 Pro. Maybe that's my fault. Maybe that is Sony's and Team Ico's fault for releasing a more unreliable version on the regular PS4, but all I can do is talk about my own experiences with The Last Guardian on the platform I played it on. And I have to say, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. I consistently read horror stories about how The Last Guardian performed horridly on a regular PS4, but I didn't experience anything like that. The Last Guardian's performance remains solid, but I did however notice some frame rate dips that would have been avoided if I played on a PS4 Pro. For example, I noticed considerable performance drops whenever I ventured outside of the ruins, as well as in frantic chase scenes. Besides a few of these occurrences, the game looked lovely for the most part, with exquisite detail applied to Trico. His body regenerates and changes over time and after battles. I often found myself gazing in wonder as I watched Trico interact with the environment around him in his own special way. His eye color changes depending on his mood, and his feathers become ruffled when he is angered. It's little details like this that make The Last Guardian truly stand out on its own. Sublime. That is the only way to adequately describe the sound composition present in this game. Composer Takeshi Furukawa has created a colossal soundtrack that stands just as tall as any fantastical beast imaginable in a Team Ico game. Themes such as Overture Lore and Escape make the soundtrack almost worth an outright buy on its own. Takeshi Furukawa stated that the music was able to contribute just the right amount of emotional voltage. Well, I say Takeshi did a hell of a lot more than that. Every climactic scene in this game is accompanied by a just as epic theme. Every mountain scaled and every battle won brings a renewed sense of vigor and a grand accomplishment thanks to the robust sound design. It's soundtracks like these that make you realize just how important audio can be in gaming. When looking at an aspect like this in The Last Guardian, it's easy to see why this game took several years to craft. An annoying camera and awkward controls aside, this is the embodiment of what gaming can be. You don't need to get a 20+ kill streak. You don't need to relentlessly throw yourself against waves of disposable enemies in a conflict you couldn't care less about. Sometimes all it takes is the bond between a boy and his Trico to melt the hearts of many. This could have been a perfect game, but some sloppy controls let down what was otherwise a magnificent experience. And this game has earned a final rating of 8.9 out of 10. This game took the better part of a decade to make, and for the most part, it was worth the wait. For more coverage on your favourite games, movies and TV, please like and subscribe to Dissension Media.
ヤクドユリヤノズヤロテアウユクやアカスティアタ